So if this all goes tits up, which I thought it might do, at least I'm financially independent and secure now, and I don't need family should that happen.
This is Chaps Out, where I talk to men about coming out later in life. My guest today is Gil Cruz. I like to start with the age you were when you decided to come out and sort of what the circumstances were.
I got my own flat at 34, so I knew I can't be kicked out of anywhere. I'm financially stable and independent. I think on my 35th birthday, I kind of felt it's time,
Mm.
it's high time. I'm living this way, but I can't really talk to anyone about it. Let's just get it over and done with.
And so, what was the reaction from your family when you decided to come out?
So I told my older sister first on her own, and she gave me a big hug and said, "It's all right." My younger sister had actually been through it with two of her male friends before. Two male friends chose to come out to her. I had to tell her over the phone, and she was very good about it and said, "You'll always have my love and support." And that left my parents, my brother, and his Spanish fiance at my birthday lunch. And I said, "Well, I've got something to tell you." And my dad thought it was going to be good news. And he was like, "What? Tell us." And I came out with it and said, "I'm gay." His face was like thunder, and he asked me, whispering, "Are you living in your flat with a partner?" Kind of thing. I was like, "No, no, 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 no." Then my mum tried to slide it out because the waiter was there. She was like, "He's okay. He's okay. He's okay." My brother was like, "It's all right, bruv, as long as you're happy." But then his Spanish fiance at the time was like, "Care? Care?" She didn't hear or didn't understand. So I had to say it twice, would you believe? And then her reaction was, "Sí, claro."
What does that mean in Spanish then?
Yes, of course, obvious. It was the world's worst kept secret anyway. Everyone knew.
So, your parents, your dad was all right in the end.
He came round. Apparently, when I wasn't there, they had a conversation about, they're okay with it. They were just worried for my future. I'm not going to have anyone to look after me. That was their initial worries.
Yeah, yeah. So, when you were growing up, did you always know? I mean, when did you come out to yourself?
I think I always knew, and I used to get called the Filipino word for gay all the time, which is buckler, buckler. I was called that all my life, but everyone just thought it was a phase.
So, at school, how are your schoolmates?
At primary school, it was fine. Like I wasn't out then. No one knew what gay was or sex was. I loved primary school. It was like, we had really good fun times. High school though, yeah, I got called everything under the sun. Bag, puff, queer, bender, everything. Everyone knew it. I knew it, but I was in denial all through high school, trying to make out I wasn't. But everyone knew it, everyone could see it, even myself. But society in the 90s, you're not gay, basically, especially in a boy or no boys school. So I was trying my hardest to not be gay.
Mm.
There was a lot of sort of dilemmas and turmoils, and I knew I was this, but trying to be that. A lot of people, could see right through it. But so school wasn't the nicest of times. And yeah, I don't really think about school anymore. Don't really have good memories of school. But then what saved me was my Sainsbury's part-time job during my A levels. Yeah, I made a load of lovely friends, and because there were girls as well as boys, compared to an all-boys school, they evened out the balance of male-female energy, and unsurprisingly, I got on better with the girls than the boys, and no one really was homophobic. At work that I remember, I never got anything nasty said to me, maybe about me behind my back, but never to me directly, unlike school.
So, you went to university.
Yeah, really good times, really enjoyed it. Regretfully, I still wasn't out at uni. So my first 2 years of uni, I was very much still straight. But then where I
Yeah.
really found myself was in my third year, university work placement. Because I studied international marketing management, I went to French-speaking Montreal, all on my own, anonymous, and that was my, carte blanche to go and experiment and my first gay bars, gay saunas, first hookups, all the rest of it all happened age 20, 21.
So,
No one knew me, no one could judge me. I do remember like my first hookup in Canada, a guy take me back to his in a cab, and getting to his, and then the first thing he wanted to do was like, as in like, obviously it was my first time. It's like he was like, duh, come on, of course you got a shower first.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, I was just following his lead.
So how did you find that experience in a sauna? Did you find it intimidating, or did you actually sort of feel at home?
It was all very new and exciting. And I remember I was still in denial to myself that I would actually go to a sauna, have fun, and then tell myself I'm not gay, and I can prove it to myself. I can go to a sauna and not have fun. So that year in Montreal, I was alternating 1 year going to, 1 week going to the sauna, having fun, then telling myself I'm not gay, and I can prove it to myself. The following week, go to the sauna and not have any fun. But then, go again, have fun. Then the following week,
Mm.
go again, not have any fun. So I was still with this turmoil. I really didn't want to come back at the end of the year. I was like, oh no, because I knew I'd have to go back in the closet, so to speak. Yeah, and be straight again. So what did I do? As soon as I finished uni, I went off to teach English in Japan. And I just loved again being that anonymous person. No one back home, my family, friends don't need to know about this. It was go to the sauna every weekend, all my travels, not just around Japan, but in Australia. Went back to Canada during the SARS scare. Every time I traveled, it was go to the saunas. Every time I came back to London to see family and friends, yeah, I was leaving a secret double life.
Yeah. And how did you feel about that at the time?
It was what it was, really. It was still sort of now the noughties, and we weren't still as open as we are now. I was still wasn't sure how my family would react about it. Every time I'd come back from Japan, that Christmas meal, my dad would be like, "So you got a girlfriend now?" And I'd be like, "Oh God, here we go." Like, no, why not? I enjoy being single. And then my dad would always like look at my three other siblings and go, "They've got boyfriends and girlfriends. Why not you?" So I'd have to repeat, again, I like being single. And he'd be like, "I don't get it. You're good looking. You got a nice personality. I don't understand why you don't want a girlfriend." It was the most uncomfortable, awkward thing ever. My siblings all knew. My dad wouldn't let it go. And then there'd be the accusations to my mum, like, "It's your fault he doesn't want a girlfriend. He grew up seeing you nag, 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 moan me all his life. That's why he doesn't want a girlfriend." Then my siblings would cut in and say, "You can't say that because we grew up with him. We've all had relationships and partners. So that's not a valid argument." And then my dad would ask again, "Well, how come he's single then? How come he doesn't want a girlfriend?" I'd be like, "Please, can we please change the subject?" It was the most awful elephant in the room ever before I
Oh,
was out. Yeah.
so you just to dread coming home for Christmas, I suppose.
In a way, because I knew those conversations were coming. If we're watching something with multiple women on TV, my dad would be like, "She's my favorite." My brother would be like, "She's my favorite." My older brother-in-law, "She's my favorite." Younger brother-in-law, "She's my favorite." Everyone looks at me, silence. Who wants a cup of tea? It was
Well,
like everyone knew. It was the worst kept secret because apparently I scream gay, but I guess everyone was respectful enough not to go there and ask me or force me to come out. Yeah.
no. So what's your background? Let's talk about your heritage, because your parents obviously are first generation
First
Filipino.
generation, very Catholic Filipinos. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how does that sort of, coming out fit in with the culture then?
I think that was probably another reason why I left it for so long. Growing up hardcore Catholic, I had my first Holy Communion, had my confirmation. Um, yeah, but to be honest, religion wasn't that big a part of me not coming out really.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I just, I don't remember everyone ever at church bringing up.
When did you start to kind of relax and think, well, hang on a minute, this might be who I am?
Yeah, maybe got as I got a bit older when I was in Japan and was like regularly going to
Hmm.
saunas, and then I thought, yeah, this is me. No one else needs to know, but this is me.
What was it like in Japan? What's the scene like over there? Is it quite an open gay
No,
scene?
it's very underground. It's very underground. Yeah, but there is a certain area like we have, Concert Street in Soho. There is a place in Tokyo that's like that, but it's very kind of discreet. No
Hmm.
one talks about it. No one wants to sort of like acknowledge it, admit it. And I remember hearing the expression "couple closed," and I thought, "What's that?" And it's when two men want to show everyone they're a couple without being obvious, so they'll do something like wear exactly the same shoes will have exactly the same man bag or exactly
Ah,
the same, jacket, something like that, where people go, "Okay, they're a couple," without saying they're a couple. And apparently it's called couple closed. Don't know if you heard of that expression before.
I haven't, no, but this is what I'm here for, to learn new expressions. So that's a kind of coding, I guess, code to other people to sort of say hands off? Or
There you
maybe,
go. We're a couple without, yeah,
yeah,
saying we're a couple. We're just showing you without saying it.
that's interesting. I imagine Japan is probably quite a discreet thing.
Back then it was, yeah. And then a
Yeah.
lot of the men were very metrosexual anyway. You couldn't really
No.
tell.
Yeah. So yeah, I've never been. I'd love to go to Japan just to experience the entire place.
Great experience, yeah.
Yeah. My,
On the one-way plane home, I cried me a river. And
oh,
part of it might have been to do with the fact that, oh God, I'm going to be around my family and friends again. I've got to hide who I am again. Part of it was very probably that as well.
yeah. So did that have any impact on you then? That sort of having to go back in the closet every time you came back home. And did it actually start to affect you mentally?
Not really. I think I'm born of Filipino immigrant parents. It's very just get on with it. You have no idea how lucky you are being here. Have you got food? Yes. Have you got water? Yes. Have you got clothing? Yes. Have you got shelter? Yes. Your life is fine. Get on with life. Don't moan,
Mm.
don't complain. So I guess I just got on with life really, and just carried on in secret.
So you're quite tough and resilient, really. And
I think so. Yeah,
yeah.
they say that, being gay and having mental health issues goes hand in hand, but not for myself, I don't think.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yes, I think there's an awful lot of guys who are struggling, so it's good to hear that you're doing all right. Have you had a boyfriend?
I don't actually do relationships. I don't
Right.
think I have that part of the brain.
So no desire to like have a family or anything like that either, whereas you've been growing
Definitely
up.
not. I mean, my seven nieces and nephews are enough. I absolutely love them to bits, but I love the fact that when I've had enough of them, I can say, see you later, time for uncle to leave. Yeah, I'm very happily single. I always have been. I love my life and I love that I could do whatever I want, however I want, with whoever I want. I don't have to answer to anyone, and I love that. Coming out gay late in life,
Mm,
um, you might explode out the closet. That definitely happened to me. And, this feeling of release, the huge weight off your shoulders, and just making up for lost time. And there was one point where I was never at home. I was Monday night at the drag karaoke, Tuesday night at the drag bingo, Wednesday, the drag quiz, Thursday, the drag cabaret, Friday to Sunday, all the gay clubbing and then the gay hangover after parties, needing that one day of rest. So
mm.
there were a good few years you'd never see me at home. I exploded out the closet. I was making up for lost time and I was loving life as this new being my true authentic self.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant. So you had a blast, and then did that start to, I don't know, as you got a bit older, you just decided to sort of slow down a little bit.
Yeah, just in the last few years, I turned 46 last year, and that's where I felt my energy levels drop. Unfortunately, I felt my metabolism slow down. And then, after a good solid 10 years or so of living that lifestyle, you do start to feel like, okay, I'm a bit over it now. It's getting a bit samey. I'm growing up a bit. I am starting to prefer sitting down events, like dinners, coffees, drinks, theatre. It happens to us all as we get older.
So when did you sort of have this burning desire that you needed to come out? What was that sort of, how did that kind of come about then when you decided enough's enough? I've got to do this. Was there something sort of a voice in your head telling you that you needed to be honest to everyone around you?
I kind of felt like I was saying earlier, once I was very financially secure and independent in myself, I've got my flat now. I felt like I can just come out and say it. I'm
Mm,
being asked, I'm always being asked, you got a girlfriend? Or I could see, even like amongst friends, the elephant in the room. And it was a huge weight off my shoulders. I guess in a way, I was lucky that everyone knew anyway. It was the world's worst kept secret. In a way, I was lucky like that. It wasn't, no one was like completely shocked. I wasn't like, I was probably talked about less than before I was out. Before I
yeah,
was out, there's probably a million. Is Gil gay? Oh, he's definitely gay.
yeah,
My younger sister even admitted to me that my family would have role plays about me coming out to them, how they're going to react.
yeah,
Well, when it's out in the open, and I remember my birthday meal. Yeah, when I told them there was a bit of silence and oh, but then everyone was like, by the way, what are you getting for dessert? Don't get that, get this. Oh, did you hear about such and such neighbor? Oh, did you read the paper? And you kind of think it's gonna be like an EastEnders Queen Vic moment where the music stops, the whole restaurant stares. It was nothing like that. It was like because they already knew they could like just brush it off. There you go, he's done it now. Great. Okay, so I recommend the chocolate over cake over the cheesecake. It was very, it was a very non-event me coming out really in a way. Yeah. So anyone
Yeah,
who's worried about it, anticipation is always worse than reality, I would say. Yeah. And everything's temporary as well. Even if shit does hit the fan, everything's temporary.
yeah.
So everyone will get over
Yeah,
it.
the drama's all in our heads, and not worrying about what other people think is the reason I decided to do it. And yeah, I thought it would be even a bit more dramatic than it was, and actually, it was a little bit more like, oh, okay, which is which is a good thing for people to realize. Anyone who's going through that process, or listening to this because they want to find out how to go about it and what's it like. Uh, it generally, I can't say for everybody, but I mean, you probably have an idea if it's going to be trouble, but generally, it's fine, isn't it?
In your case, it opened the door for your daughter.
Oh yeah, I was able to yeah come out to my children, and my daughter was then the door was open for my daughter to then come back and say yes, so am I. Which and again, I'd played that scenario out in my head just in case. Like one of the scenarios was that it's not just about me. Oh, I hadn't even asked, are you? She just volunteered that, and that was just a beautiful thing, and that couldn't have gone any better to be able to also, as a father, sort of be supportive and let my daughter have that moment to come out to me.
I think in 2026, we've come a long way. Have you seen The Imitation Game? Benedict Cumberbatch playing Alan Turing.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
If you look back, how it was still illegal
Mm,
to be gay and, to like medically castrate him. He saved us from the war. He was
mm,
a hero, but
mm,
just because of the fact he was gay. We are very fortunate to live in these times. Um, we now have PrEP, Doxy Pep. I've had my two gonorrhea jabs. We're very fortunate to be living in this time
mm.
now with all these things available to us. Yeah, I have
Yes.
HIV positive friends, and it's no longer a death sentence. They're undetectable, and
Mm.
it's important that people know that if you're undetectable, you're untransmittable as well.
It's important as well you bring this up because people don't talk about it. They're not conversations that people have enough. So it's good when it comes up on this podcast because people do need to know about testing and like you say, it's not a death sentence because they've got the medication and things have moved on.
That's it. Like organizations like Terence Higgins Trust are very good for, beating that stigma and helping out, the original Terence Higgins, who was one of the original
Yeah.
people who tested positive. Yeah. So it's good to talk about these things for sure. But I
Mm.
guess, I don't know, are things still relatively new to you? Because remind me when you came out yourself.
Well, in terms of new to me, I came out last year to my family, but to myself probably 2 years ago.
There you go.
So
So
I
it's still,
probably sat on it for about a year
yeah,
before I decided, because I weighed up whether I do or don't come out, whether I just carry on. And it's like, does anyone need to know? So I felt like, well, it's no one's business. But then it kind of almost weighed heavier by me keeping it a secret. And then actually by sharing that, it lightened my load. And actually, that became my true self. The lightness makes you become a different person slightly. So, um, like a full person. So I think it's important that if you can do it, but then there's that other side where you think it's no one else's business. Yeah, it's a little bit too much information, what you get up to kind of thing. But for me, it was very important to do it because I just had to get it out there rather than hiding it.
absolutely. And I feel like you then have real relationships with people. I still love my straight friends to bits, but once you're out, you can find your true tribe, and the people whose company you do enjoy, the people that you can talk to about things, have proper genuine relationships with, and go and enjoy these things like all the drag or the gay scene,
Mm,
etc. So once you're out and can be your true self, you can find your true tribe as well. Like, do you
mm.
feel you've met a lot of new friends and got your own chosen family now, or
Oh, well, to be honest, most of my friends now are very sort of they're the same people because I think I've always chosen people who are sort of more sensitive types and arty-farty types. Everyone I know is like an artist or a musician or something. So it's sort of, and also being working in television, I've got an awful lot of former colleagues or whatever who are gay. I mean, there aren't so many bisexual people. So as a bisexual myself, that's quite interesting because I just still feel that that's very underrepresented. I don't feel like I'm changing my group.
And you're not far from central London anyway, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I need to start going out more. The idea of just going to a bar and IRL to meet people, and I would like to go to a Pride and just see what that could be like. That would be really exciting.
all in your own time. There's no rush,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, and Pride season is coming up. There's so many Prides now. Fill your boots, go
Yeah.
and enjoy. And I'm sure that yeah, there's bisexual groups as well. There's
Mm.
Bisexual Day. I'm sure there is.
By Visibility Day, I think it's called, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there might be more than you're aware of for
Yeah.
bisexuals. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with this podcast is I'm using my guests as a way to sort of learn a little bit here and there. I always learn something new every conversation I have, which is great. Have you got any advice for anyone who's thinking of coming out, might be in the closet, and sort of unsure, and possibly with, a similar, coming from a similar sort of background to yours?
Yeah, I would say make sure you've got your own home so that you don't have to worry about being kicked out of home. Um, there's that good old expression, expect the worst, hope for the best. Look at worst case scenario and then look at best case scenario and hope for best case scenario. Um, I would say definitely do it over not doing it. People do get over it. People will come around. It might take a while, hopefully not, but I would say definitely do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. That huge weight off your shoulders. Be able to be your true, authentic self. Be a happier person. Have proper, genuine relationships with people. Find your true tribe. Go
Mm,
to events and spaces you want to go to, where you're welcome to, where you're actually going to enjoy. Yeah, it's the best thing you could ever do. And if it doesn't go well initially with people, think about, are they really worth having in your life? If they don't accept you for who you really are, think about, do you really want them in your life actually? And yeah, everything's temporary. So even if it doesn't go well, yeah, it might feel horrible to start off with, but everything's temporary. You'll get over it. People will get over it. People will move on. You will be
mm.
accepted. And those who don't accept you, they're not worth having in your life.
Brilliant. And since you came out, you don't regret it? It's changed your
Not
life?
at all. It's the best thing ever. Yeah, I am my true self. I just have a fantastic living my best life, all elements of life. Um, yeah, I'm very happy. And I think also someone once told me, because I'm so authentically, unapologetically myself,
Mm,
I allow other people around me to be the same.
mm.
So I'm happy if I can help others be their true, authentic, and apologetically true selves, then I'm happy I can do that for them as well.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it's good to have that positivity and yeah, hope that rubs off on other people. So brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, Gil. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
I think we'll
you.
wrap up here,
Sure.
but we're going to see you in Chaps Out Culture.
Sure.
Thank you so much, though. It's been absolutely lovely talking to you
Thank
today.
you,
So
Grant. I've really enjoyed this chat.
cheers.
Take care.
Thanks again for listening to Chaps Out, and to Gil Cruz for being so frank and honest in the way he shared his story. He showed that coming out isn't always the dramatic moment we build up in our heads, and that the anticipation is often worse than reality. What really stood out was his sense of freedom afterwards. Coming out can be a huge weight off your shoulders, and that doing it for yourself allows you to be your true, authentic self, and can help you find your true tribe. Gil was keen to add that people do get over it, and if they don't, you have to ask, are they really worth having in your life? If this conversation resonated with you, remember, you are not alone. Please subscribe to Chaps Out wherever you listen, so you never miss an episode, along with episodes of our companion podcast, Chaps Out Culture. And please follow or subscribe on YouTube, TikTok and Instagram. If you can like, rate and review, and give us a share, it really helps the podcast get noticed and reach the people who may need to hear it. If you like what we're doing, you can donate on the link in the bio. Your support will help with running costs and keep these conversations flowing. And if you're a bisexual or gay man who grew up in the UK or Ireland and came out later in life and have an inspiring story you'd like to share on the podcast, then please email me at chapsoutpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and your support, and take care.